everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in to another exciting episode of the iConis podcast, where the icon is holds up. You know better than that. Let's just do it this way. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Barry 3D Carter. I'm one of your hosts of the iConis podcast. And on my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend. If you don't see him, that's okay, because you'll hear him where he's playing. My cousin, my best friend, the one and only
Rod C. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. I hope you are ready. As you saw the name and the title, we are going to be talking about.
Hello.
Oh, I'm mic'd out. Oh, sorry, chipped out. Sorry, I literally was going to tell you guys, but but I did it again. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Dang technology, keep
cool.
bleeping me out. I was so close. Oh, so close. Oh well,
yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll find out
Let's
soon
go.
enough. But before we do, as usual, we got to do the rundown. Manners make it the man, the whole 9 yards. So here we go. We're going to kick this off right away. So first and foremost, you got to buy the books. You don't know where to start. Here, we got two places for you. You got to go to Wow Comics out in Kitchener. Tell Wes and the rest of the guys we said hi. For our friends out in Montreal, please go to Tex Wings out on the South Shore in Brossard and tell Trevor and the rest of the guys we said hi. You tell them you heard about him on this podcast, they'll hook you up. Also, another friend of the show is Miss Brandy Ford. She's got her radio station, 4680q.com. You can check her out. And that's every Monday and Wednesday at 2 o'clock and Saturdays at noon. Keep your ears out. She's also adding more times. And she also has a monthly book. You can see the link down below. It's called The Writer and the Wit. Please check her out. Thank you very much. Also, I do some stand-up comedy, and when I'm doing stand-up comedy, sometimes I'm rolling alone. If you want to know where I'm going to be, check out barry3d.com. That's my personal website with all updates, including for this show. And there's times I'm going with another group called A Touch of Gray Matter, which is myself, Zulf Ali, and Dave Sokolowski. So come out, check it out. You know, when we do our fundraisers, please come out and give. We got some that we've got in the works planning right now. Rod, where can we find you?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on the World Wide Web. As I always say, you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. You can find me on TikTok at twitch.tv. Let me keep it proper. Let me keep how I normally go. Twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Then you can find me on TikTok at DJ Rod C1. That's DJ Rod C1. What? The number one. Let's go.
Let's go. Now, we always say that, hey, man, if you want to do something like this too, you should turn around and use what we use. We use Podbean to do all our podcast hosting things. And you can, of course, you see the show on YouTube. So please subscribe if you want. And on Podbean, you can find us at iconis.podbean.com. And if you are doing anything like this and you need any kind of graphic artwork done, regardless of where you are within the world, all you got to do is reach out to the one and only
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Arts. You reach out to him, you tell him you heard about him on the iConis podcast, and he will give you a discount. Keep in mind, this is the digital age. This is worldwide. So all our listeners in the UK, down in the States, around Canada, down in Spain, Sweden, wherever, we got you. We got you. Even our listeners out in Germany. Hey, we know you. We hear you. Thank you very much. All right. Ooh, I think we got this done.
Oh,
Which
nice.
now? Yeah, work out nice. Which, remember, subscribe. Which brings us to our hero of the day. Our theme for the month of November is dealing with Remembrance Day. We're dealing with soldiers, heroes, anything along those lines. And this time we're being extra patriotic with the person we've chosen today. That person is
Captain Canuck.
Captain
Canuck.
What? Come on now. So this is a book that came out in 1975. Oh man. So this is more recent now for some people. It might, oh yeah, we know, and others might not, right? Because this book was created, published, and done everything here in Canada. Toronto, really, per se. This is what it is. So it got a lot of the Canadian culture in there. And I said, July of 1975 is when the first issue came out. It was, self-published. They went through different avenues where they almost got published by Harlequin, Harlequin Publishing Company, who did the Harlequin romance novels, but they didn't do comic books at the time. So they turned around and they almost had a deal, but the deal wasn't really a good deal for the creators. So they decided to turn around and do it themselves and say, hey, we can do this and self-publish it. And this book was created by Ron Leishman, who was a cartoonist, and the artist and writer, which was Richard Cromley. So that's when they started from way back. Now, the beauty is, as I said, this was done in 1975. The book came out with the character being in 1975. Well, they wrote the created character in 1975, and they wrote the stories in the future. And the future had it that Canada was a superpower. We were a major player on the world market. So we were up there, and we stepped up like equal to, or maybe even beyond the USA at that time in 1993. That's what the future was. 1993 was the future, and Canada was a superpower.
18 years in the future. Take it. Just go with it.
Take it. Just right? It's like Back to the Future. We already lived the year that Marty traveled to. We passed it, okay? We good. So that was the future they were envisioning. And we had our hero, Captain Canuck. So Captain Canuck, this is when he came about. And the thing is, they were going to call him Captain Canada. But for some reason, they thought the name was taken, so they went with Captain Canuck instead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better with Captain Canuck than Captain Canada. Because they make jokes about Vindicator or Guardian from Alpha Flight being Captain Canada. So we good. I'm better with than Canada. We live in Canada. Right? It's almost like Captain America. We get you. We get you.
Right.
So like Captain America, Captain Canuck. Captain Canuck was created, as I said, based in Toronto, as our symbol of freedom. He was, in essence, like a super soldier. He was a hero. He's got a strange story. It starts off good. So let's go back. So the character's name is Tom Evans. Tom Evans was born in Manitoba. Wait, you keep So he was born in Manitoba, and he was Cree on his father's side, and they never really mentioned about his mom. So you just know his dad is Cree Indian. Him and his brother, so it was Tom and Michael Evans, and the two of them came up together. Now the father raised them to be more peaceful, but Tom was always quick to defend people. Tom would always go in there, and he was defending his brother Michael from bullies. He had a sense when Michael was in trouble, he always was there to defend him. And at one point, he's like, hey, you guys got to do something. So he sent them off to like a boarding school, like a military kind of college, to kind of mellow him out, learn to take care of himself, because he saw he had a strong sense of right and wrong. So both brothers turned around. They went to military college. They went, and actually, when they came out, military school, when they came out, they stayed with the Army. They joined the RCMP. So they both joined the RCMP. They worked their way up in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. If you've seen the videos where I do, welcome to Canada. Well, all right, there we go. Okay.
Have some fun. With some nice red suits and the nice broad hats. Yes.
Right? Dudley Do Right. Like, yes.
Dudley Do Right. Nice.
Yes, man. Dudley Do Right, or if you watch a TV show, Due South, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Good Canadian content, eh?
That's another one. Forget about it. But I'm trying to remember that guy's name. McGoogle. Anyway, that's another story.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Forget about it.
Canada.
For Canada, where we have free healthcare. Yeah. I love that cartoon. So this is where he came up, and he goes about. So when this all started for him, he gets up there, he goes for the RCMP. He's going pretty well for him and his brother. And then at one point, this guy's like just an all-around good guy. Like it really shows the Canadian sense in it. So on his off time, he was leader of a Boy Scout troop. So he took a troop of Boy Scouts, and he took them away for a camping trip. How they go in the woods and do their camping and earn their badges and everything like that. We don't need no stinking badges. Yes, you need badges if you're a Boy Scout. That's the whole thing. So he took the Boy Scout troop, out. And at one point when he's in the tent, he heard some rustling around. He comes out. The boys are gone. He didn't lose one. He didn't lose three. He lost the whole
pack of them.
The whole pack of them gone. Gone. right? So he gets out there, he starts looking around, he sees a light and says, okay, something's going on. He has a sense that something seems off. So he runs over to where he sees that light coming from. And what he sees is the Boy Scouts all standing in line, right? Facing him with an object behind them. They're kind of got a glow around them. Their eyes are glowing. And then he looks and he sees it's a spaceship with aliens, 3 aliens standing there with their hands out, emitting this energy wave around the boys. Tom is a man of action. He's like, oh, and he goes charging in there. And his goal was to stop the aliens from whatever they're doing. He didn't know what was going on.
Not on my watch.
Charge!
Sorry. Had to do it. It was just right there.
Yes, of course. So he went in there and he goes to stop them. And all of a sudden, the famous, and this is for our buddy Dave when we used to play D&D, there was a blinding flash of light. For our group of friends, we know what that is. Every time we were doing something wrong and we were getting carried away in Dungeons and Dragons, the DM, which was our buddy Dave, would get fed up. He goes, all right, there's a blinding flash of light. And we're like, uh-oh. And he would teleport something in there to shut us up. All right. And not that it really worked, mind you, but still, we had to deal with it. So he had a blinding flash of light. Boom. Next thing you know, when he comes to, he and the whole troop, all the boys are back at their camp with their tents. They have a nagging feeling that something happened. Like, when you have a dream and you wake up and you can't remember the whole dream. So you're kind of getting bits and pieces of it. So they knew something was off. Okay, cool, fine. Brings the boys back. Everything goes on as normal. He goes now back to work at the RCMP. And when he's there, he's doing his normal physicals and so forth. And over a very short span of time, he realizes he's different. He's like 2 times faster, 2 times stronger. He's got a photographic memory all of a sudden. He's got like deductive skills like a computer. Like he's really able to put things together really quick. And he notices these changes between test scores, physical scores he's doing, his case, how he's handling his cases. And his superiors turn around and say, hey, there's something different about Michael. Michael, what's different about you? He's like, I don't know. I feel good, feeling good. So they turned around and they were just forming a new organization called CISO, CISO, CISO. And I'm going to tell you right now, in all honesty, everyone out there, I can't remember what that stands for.
It stands for the Canadian International Security Organization. CISO.
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 A second, I read it. I read it real quick, and I almost saw it said Cisco, and I'm like, what? He's there too. Thong.
I was refraining from doing that. I was like, it's right there, and I'm like, refrain.
I was going for it. Yeah. So CISO, so Canadian. What was it again? Canadian
International Security Organization.
Right. And this is at the beginning of when this was, thank you very much, Rod, when this was forming. So we said, we need an agent, we need a face, we need something that's going to inspire people and be there for the organization. You're going to be the face of the organization. We're going to put you in a costume. We're going to give you a name and go out on special missions for us. And now the whole thing about CISO is their mandate is to fight terrorism. As Canada is a superpower, they're dealing more with terrorism on a worldwide basis, in and outside the borders. Remember, 1993 was a future, so cars had 6 wheels. You would see like a set in front and 2 pairs in the back. They had their planes, which would always achieve low orbit. So they had fighter jets that would go into orbit and outer space, and there were space stations. Like that's the Canada he envisioned. God bless your cotton socks, as Rod would say.
As I would say, God bless your cotton socks. Indeed. I'm so proud of you. Thank you.
This is how you see in Canada. Oh,
Richard, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Richard, is a Canadian. I mean, he obviously, and this is what he envisioned for him. So Captain Canuck, once again, that's how he got his origins. Boom, moves on. And it had its first series. Now, the first series, even though it took a while for that first original run to go, it was like 15 issues. But you got like the first 3 issues. Then it was a a gap before we got issue number 4. And only in
Right.
the original run do you get his origin story in issue number 5. So if you want to know what his origin is, and the original run I'm talking, yes, he has come back different times. That's the original run. So Tom goes out there, and that is his base story. And then, of course, he has support staff that, support agents because it's an agency. So they're building, picture it's like Shield. Shield's got its super agents, depending on how you want to look at it. Like, maybe it could be Captain America, it could be Agent 13, it could Black Widow, Hawkeye, depending on which version you see. Shield has always got its set of agents that are going. Same thing like Checkmate. Checkmate had its superhero division of agents and super soldiers and yada yada yada. It goes on. So, and even IO, like how it had in Image Comics. Okay, so this is our secret organization. This is the troops they're doing. This is the support that he's got. And his brother's still around, and his brother does join him on a couple of missions. Now, during one mission, some people were shooting at Captain Canuck, and his brother jumped in front of him and ended up getting hits, taking the bullets that was meant for him, which caused his brother to be paralyzed and put in a wheelchair, which he has some guilt over at the time. Or ongoing, because he's always there to protect his brother, and that's one time he couldn't do it. So this is the background of this character in a nutshell. And I said he's gone over, as I said, first comic was in 1975. Then he came back and they did a special in 2014, with a couple of other different issues like Reborn, the Canuck Reborn. It's almost like a Batman Beyond thing, where someone else took the role. And then, he came back in 2017 again. And then they actually pushed some, which was cool, some shorts on YouTube. So you can go to Captain Canuck and you can find official Captain Canuck channel, and you can find the animated shorts that they did, which was cool. I thought it was interesting. You if you're a Canadian fan, you're gonna love it. Okay. The music that they used for some of it was by Platinum Blonde. Canadian, yeah. If you watch the credits, they use a couple of songs from Platinum Blonde for the credits, and I'm like, this is awesome because I love Platinum Blonde. I'm not even gonna lie. I was yeah. There we go. And it almost took like, the opening has the beat of Gavin, I'm a Strange Animal. Right? It's not vocals, but if you know the beat, yeah, you're a strange animal. That's what I know. Dun, 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 dun. All right, then. Good Canadian content blew through and through.
Nice.
Oh yeah. And look, here's a joke. If you watch the opening of the cartoon, it's like his first thing, the Captain Canuck cartoon. There's a bomb threat that gets called in during Canada Day celebration. Captain Canuck goes running through the crowd to find where this bomb is, to save all the hundreds and thousands of people that are there. A girl says, "Hey, it's a Canuck," and he's in a costume, and he goes, "Yes, thank you very much. I gotta go," because he doesn't want to alert anybody. She's like, "Can I take a picture?" I'm a big fan. She gives him a kiss on the cheek. He's like, "Okay," and his support staff is like, "You stopped to take a selfie?" He's like, "Well, it's just a proper thing to do," and he goes running off. He finds the bomb, jumps on stage in the middle of Platinum Blonde playing, takes off on the top of the scaffolding, runs up a building with the bomb in hand, right? And rips it in the air just before it explodes, but it times it with the fireworks, so nobody knew
the difference.
Bomb. They all just thought it was part of the fireworks show. Captain Canuck.
Canuck. Look at that Canuck doing that. That part of the show, mommy? Yes, it is, child. Yes, it is. I'm confused, Howard. What is it? Just watch it through, Martha. Just watch it through.
Watch it through. Like it goes right through. Like it's in Ottawa. It's in Ottawa, so it's right. That celebration is right down the street from the Parliament building.
Right.
Okay. Come on now. Come on. You can't get more. And Platinum, and he jumps on stage with Platinum Blonde playing. You can't get more Canadian than that. Okay. Now there's a reason if you read his run, and they try to explain it, why his costume changed, and it's the same guy's name. So in essence, the whole arc of the first series, 15 issues, Captain Canuck goes through, try to figure some stuff out. You said he's got the powers from the aliens. Then you realize near the end that and I'm not sure if it's in this original series or the second series, so forgive me, everybody. But you find out that the aliens that came down, yes, were coming to invade, and they wanted to test the ground, so to speak. So they were brainwashing these kids to see how things would work as a pre-invasion strategy to have them help with the invasion. So during one mission, Captain Canuck realizes that those kids from the Boy Scout troop, and not right away, this is like a little while after, turn into almost
Mm-hmm.
mindless zombies. Like people are being mind controlled, and they start attacking each other. So it was Captain Canuck along with his brother and one of the agents called Quebec. Yeah, support staff. So that's like Captain America has Bucky.
Yes.
My man has got Quebec, and it's spelled Kebec.
Quebec. Yeah. But that the funny thing about it is when I read it, it's there's so just in case anybody understands, there is a province, as in states, there's a province, Quebec. There's Quebec City. Quebec is Quebec. How this one is spelled out is Kebec. And the way you say it, I read it as saying with at least with the Quebec dialect, Quebec, Quebec. So I'm reading, I was like, Quebec. Wait, did he just say Quebec? No, not Quebec, Quebec. I'm like, okay, that is so wonderful. I was
Yeah,
like,
welcome to
oh,
Quebec, eh?
that's nice. Hey, Quebec, eh? Hey, hey, I like it.
Franchement, là,
Well,
well done. So
hilarious.
yeah, yeah, muscle the French when we can. So
You know,
he's got support. So that's how it is. So I know I said before his brother was paralyzed, but they kind of retconned it a little bit, and he was able to fight back the aliens, free everyone from the mind control. Everyone is good. When he's going now to the alien spaceship to deal with them,
mm-hmm.
they turn around and said, "Well, Captain Canuck is a thorn in our side, Tom Evans. So what's the best way to do? We got to get rid of him." And an explosion happens anyways, or something. Not even explosion, something. They just turn around and bam, they hit him and they teleport him through time. They send him back to the past of like, I think it was like 10, not 20, 1080. Like way back to the point that he shows up and he's there with the Mimak Indians. And then he starts helping the Mimak Indians fight off the Viking invaders when they came over to Canada. Okay. But they never said what the repercussions are with that fight, right? They just said that's what it is. While he was back there in the past, he turns around and he's like, man, I got to get back to the future. So he works and finds his way around. So now everyone thinks he's dead because there was an explosion. That's it. It was an explosion. He got sent back in time. So everyone thinks he's dead. They do a whole ceremony for him as he's done. He's motivated more people to kind of join CISO. So he went as a martyr. He went as a martyr. All right. But then he finds a way back into. So he comes back to his present time.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my gosh, you're back. Yeah. So now he's fighting the aliens again because now they're officially invading. That's right. So the first time they teleported him back in the time, sent him back in time. He comes back. He found a cave with a time portal. Okay. It could be better explained. He comes back. He gets back to present day just when the aliens are doing their actual invasion themselves.
Right.
And they start going at it back and forth. The aliens are about to lose the fight because Canada, as the superpower with its supreme technology, is winning. And the aliens, instead of admitting defeat, would rather pull a suicide run because they don't want to get beaten, turn around and hit the self-destruct on their spaceship. And there's only 3 million aliens that he's fighting, right? But they hit the self-destruct on their spaceship on their command thing, and they figure, well, it's going to blow up our ship and anybody that's close by. Captain Canuck runs through, gets on the ship, fights the aliens, sends a message telling everybody, hey, guys, back away. They hit the self-destruct. They're about to blow up the ship. Run. Everyone's like, holy crap, we got to go. So they all U-turn. The ship blows up with Captain Canuck on the ship. But once again, the explosion sends them back through time. And this time, he ends back up in the dreaded year 1980. Now, keep in mind, he's originally from 1993.
Right.
So he turns around and says, in 1980, well, nobody knows me. Well, and we got to think now, there's a lot of time. So there's a lot of convolution right there going on. So because keep in mind, he's from 1993. So he was born, in my opinion, in 1980 because he didn't join the RCMP at the age of 13, right?
Correct.
So he's still, Tom Evans and his brother are alive, or a version of him. He's gone back in time. Do we do, variant like how we do in Loki? Do we do a variant timeline or what?
Nice.
So that means, in my logic, there's got to be two Tom Evans running around, a younger one and an older one, the one who we've been originally following and the one who still has to go through these adventures at this point. Because as I said, definitely it's 1993. So anyways, so in 1980, and that's where the book leaves off, and he still has like his powers. He still got some of the nanotechnology, all that. Now, I don't know how they smoothed one into the other. I think they just kind of turned a blind eye and just kind of wrote around it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, Captain Canuck. And as we see now, the more updated series, this is why Tom Evans is one, still around. And two, they gave him a different look on his costume. Instead of the classic spandex type costume, he's got like padded shoulders. He's got like nightsticks. He's got a backpack with the nightsticks in there, like Nightwing does. It allows him some flight. He's got laser guns. He's also got like nanotechnology in his costume, so if the costume gets damaged, it repairs itself. Like it's a nice dated look.
Nice update.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It. And then of course he's got a more of a support staff. So that support staff, when I say is like picture Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos for half a second, and then you put them all in Shield. Each person has their own thing. So you got Nick, you got
right.
Dum Dum Duggan, you got Gabriel, the whole 9 yards, and that's his support staff. The Countess. So Captain Canuck has the same thing. You got Captain Canuck, then you got his brother Michael, who was part of CEO of Evans International, and then he formed another thing after CISO, which was called Equilibrium, which was an organization that he's working for. So it's almost like an organization within an organization, or a step up from CISO. Same mandate. And then he's got, Quebec, as we said, is a field agent. And instead of making Quebec, Quebec was a guy in the original series. In the new series, they gender swap and changed her to Yvette Arsenault. So they made her fully French in a blue costume. Mm-hmm. So that it went from he to she. Redcoat was in the original series a white guy, and they turned around and made Redcoat a black woman, but she's like a Redcoat. He's got a British accent, right? Then you got his brother who's still there, and then you added on another guy who's Blackbird, who's a field agent. He's the pilot. And then you got Paraminder Patel, which is the Paraminder Patel, which is the next gen scientist and technology specialist. And then last but not least is Steeltown Hammer, who is the field agent / bodyguard. Now, Steeltown Hammer, and once again, if you're in Montreal, if you're Canada, Steeltown Hammer, we know that's Hamilton. They call Hamilton the Hammer. Hamilton was known for all the steel it produced, so they even get represented. So it does king off certain places. So we got Quebec, we got Hamilton, Ontario, we got his origin. He's born and raised in Manitoba with his brother. Quebec is from Quebec City. Yep. Come on now, man. Redcoat, I don't know where Redcoat would be from. And she's got a British accent, so yes, you'd say she's from the UK, but if she's supposed to be here, maybe she's from Montreal. So here we go. And, they have mentioned places like Montreal, New Brunswick, right? Like Halifax, like, Canada. Hey, Rod, so what do you think of this whole IP thing? What do you think of the Canuck?
Listen, Captain Canuck, Quebec, I'm going to get to the Quebec part again. I'm going to get back to the Quebec. But Captain Canuck is a very unique character in the sense that a great representation of having our own. And again, you'll see, if you do some research, you'll see that, it's not the real first time they had, but these are earlier sketches, strip type of imagery of a symbol hero for Canada. But Captain Canuck is like the first one fully suited station as being one for the country. I liked it mainly because of you brought the example of Quebec. You got to say it properly, Quebec.
Beck.
Uh, and then you got to say it properly, Quebec. But let me stop twitching my head. People are like saying, "Hey, why are you twitching his head? No, mind your business. Mind your business. Don't worry about it." Oh, that hurt. Oh God, I'm getting old. Sure. But Steel Hammer about Hamilton. But what I liked about when you read like a couple of issues in, you start to see spots. Like you said, Tom Evans from Manitoba. They're making reference to this RCMP, Toronto, Hamilton, whatever. You can see that this one is now based off CISO is based out of Montreal, and you can see clips of police cars, Montreal. There was one panel that were doing like a shot, and you were seeing like a bridge. Montreal, the hometown. I'm looking at that bridge. I'm looking at that bridge. Look kind of familiar when you read it. The Jacques Cartier Bridge. I'm like, oh my gosh, they put the Jacques Cartier Bridge in there. Oh my goodness, hilarious, hilarious. So yeah, I was completely like pulled in and just loving the fact. Now, when you watch it, when you read it, you're accustomed to. You gotta see. This is 1975. This is not the top dogs like Marvel or DC. This is Comedy Comics, and it's a different type of writing style, imagery style. But I liked it that it gave you that type of homegrown type of drawing aspect. So you're seeing a cartoonist drawing, and giving us that kind of feel like, artistry, and it was fun. I also will say, I'm trying to remember, I think it's like in issue 11 or 12 or something like that. There's a point where Captain Canuck is having to basically vaguely remembering, and excuse me if I'm saying it incorrectly, but at the point where he's fighting or he's fighting someone and he's defending a youngster, a young child and their father, and both of them are in French, and he speaks in French. Thank God, I still remember a couple of words. But the thing that was killing me is that he was speaking in French. They're speaking back to him in French, and is what actually written. It wasn't subtext. It wasn't hyper, like star asterisk translated or whatever the case to be.
Yes.
It was actual French dialect in there, and it was back and forth, back and forth. And then when he was per se having his own thoughts or talking to us per se, it was in English. So a panel of French, French, English, English, French, French, English, French. And I'm like, that's nice. So it may take somebody a 30-second to say, hey, what's happening? Where's the translation to it? But I liked it because it was giving that type of authentic type of feel that if this is going to be a Canadian comic, if this is going to be about a Canadian character, the dialect, the language is French and English, and they're making sure not to forget the French aspect, and showing that, showing respect to Canada. And, you're saying that Tom is part, native Indian, and at least you're putting in enough Canadian type of, not check off list, but stuff to just authenticate it that this is a Canadian product and be very proud of it. And I was very proud by reading that. I'm like, okay, this was nice. It was very nice. And I was like, okay, touche. It was good. It was very good. You had your best friend. It was very good. Very good.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it really interesting. So the fact is that we know his training. So basically, what I loved about it is how tangible this IP is.
That's the word. Right.
Tangible. The locations, tangible. If you live in Canada at any point, you either live there, visited, heard of what these cities are, right? We all know Montreal. We all know Ontario. You know about the Hammer, Hamilton. You know about Quebec. Right, it's on the news. It's no problem about it. You know it. It's just how Marvel puts their things in real locations. So New York City. You know all the little towns they generally go to within Marvel universe because they're real locations. They actually down to the streets. So when them saying, "Hey, the Jacques Cartier Bridge is right there," depending on what side you're looking at it, you know where you are seeing the Jacques Cartier Bridge, be it if you're
100%.
on the east or west side of the Jacques Cartier Bridge, like
Uh,
that's how tangible it is. And
yeah.
the agents representing all that is nice. So this is all. I mean, it can only get better if you saw one of them walking with a Tim Hortons cup.
Oh,
Okay.
that would have been. Oh, that would have been perfect. Well, what Tim's in 75?
No,
It
Tim's wasn't
probably
existing in 75. It was not to the
it
way
was
it is
80.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's 80s. At least in the
Right.
sense of drawing it out, because I know it's dated for
Yes.
93. But I'm like thinking, because I know Tim Horton, he was a hockey player and he
Right.
turned a franchise. And that's another history, Canadian history to look into, everyone. Check that out. Check that out. But yeah,
Right.
that would have been definitely, it would have been like, ooh, they got Tim Hortons. Oh, that's so
Right.
nice.
I don't know if at one point he mentions going for a Donair sub or a Donair pizza. Like
Oh, I'm
it's
done.
so can so and it's not, and what I like is tangible. It's
Hmm.
not a parody, right? Because if you're saying this is a parody, then you have to look at Captain America as a parody. You have to look at
Right.
Captain Britain as a parody, right? It's not a parody. We have now our own thing, and it's Canadian created, Canadian born, Canadian published. Publishing, if they were a little bit more on point, I think would have gotten further, and it was opening the market maybe more to like authentic Canadian experience,
Hmm.
right? It's not about an
100%.
American writing about a Canadian; it's a Canadian writing about about Canada. So I know everyone's like, oh yeah, Wolverine's Canadian. He says A and he drinks beer and he fights a lot. All right, and you describe most of our hockey teams. Great, got you. But you're writing it from your perspective. You're not writing it from ours. This is why when certain artists got a hold of like Wolverine as IP or anything was a part of, like John Bryan, who is Canadian, you got
Yeah.
more of authentic feel with him and Chris Claremont working on the X-Men during their run, how they explain Wolverine. Because at one point they do stop in is it Manitoba or Saskatchewan, one of the two, where they first encounter Alpha Flight for the first time.
Right.
Okay, that Calgary, that's it, Calgary, sorry, it's Calgary. So yes, so Calgary is when they first encounter Alpha Flight for the first time, and Department H in Ottawa, but that's only during John's and Chris's run of the X-Men. Side of that, we really don't get that. So this was nice to see that they were doing it, and they were mindful enough to give him his original run. Okay, it had some, yeah, deviation. Like, when I say deviation, like, people, diversity. They had diversity.
Mm.
When they came back with his more later run, they really focused on the diversity, that it didn't seem forced. And his
Right.
main villain is Mr. Gold, is one
The
of the,
goal.
right.
Right.
And
Mm.
Blue Fox, like you were
I'm,
saying before, is like a double agent, whatever. It's almost like he's Batman and she's a
I can say
Catwoman.
that. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take the words out of your mouth, but that's where it
No, no,
strikes me, right?
no, no,
So
no.
that's the
Completely.
whole thing of Captain Canuck. And that's what I like, especially the fact that the main person in your book, even back in 1975, was Cree Indian. Wasn't, that is, and that's your main guy. Even though his name's Tom Evans, his dad was Cree. Now, I'm not sure if he's mixed, right? Because they never really get into his mom, but
Hmm.
his dad is Cree, so he's got Cree blood, him and his brother. He was raised Cree. He was, got the teachings of the Cree Indians, of their culture and all that.
Right.
I would like to see that played a little bit more, in the IP, to kind of get into the roots of it. And I mean that done in a tasteful manner, right?
Right.
That and that's who your hero is. Like, look at Captain America. Captain America is blonde hair, blue eyes, 6 foot, whatever. Captain America.
Yep.
Here we are. Our guy is no, he's one of the First Nation.
Right.
Ah, smart, smart,
100%. 100%.
smart.
100%.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it. So
Hmm.
it brings us down to our thing is,
Okay.
Rod,
Mm.
how would you like to adapt it? And after your adaptation, who would be your Captain Canuck?
All right. So, you know what? Okay, let's go to adaptation. I would like this medium to actually be live. I would like it to be live. Um, in my mind, I've been trying to figure to do this as a series or do it as a one movie. at least we'll start off with the movie. And I think I want it as a movie. Now, the reason why I want it live is, for one, I want to make it. I want to give the credit and give it the respect. If you're going to have a live adaptation of Captain America, I want a live adaptation of a Canadian representation, the equivalent Captain Canuck.
Nice.
So I would like to see a live person, flesh and blood, in a suit, going through the whole origin and giving it some context, and like saying, like, we too can have someone who does the similar type of actions and antics and abilities. It wasn't a super soldier serum, but he was zapped by aliens, and we're already accustomed to, like I've always saying now, these type of premises can't be that far fetched. And people like saying that will never happen. But like, have some aliens come down and interfere, and someone gets zapped by it. Yeah, that's plausible. That's plausible. We'll screen it and action. I want to see that. So with that entail, I would like to go with. I wanted to go with someone who is, I wanted to have someone who was, Canadian. I wanted to have an actor who's Canadian. And, I went my little search through Canadian, and I came across someone who is actually, I just recently saw that basically I did see him in an episode of a show, Quantum Leap, and I realized who it was. And he was he portrayed himself very well and everything like that. So who I would like is Francis Arnaud. So Francis Arnaud, he is wild enough. He's a Canadian. He's from Montreal, Quebec. So he wasn't from Manitoba, but at least I got him at least in Quebec, in that sense that he will have the structure, the face, the imagery of someone like you're saying. Yeah, I can see. And when you look at him, it's Francois Arnaud, Arnaud, and he was just in an episode of Quantum Leap, and he did very well. Like, he portrayed himself very well. That particular episode, he was basically playing like an undercover field agent. So he was already in the type of scenario. So in that sense, he already has the mindset to be a soldier, taking orders, following rules, and everything along the line. This one, there were certain things that he was like, I don't know if I like it because of my not belief system, but he was like certain things like, I don't know if I pan out to that, and I'm engaged. But at least he had a backbone, and he showed that, as I saying, yeah, you know what, I can't always follow the order, the lead, but when I do, I'm all in. And there's certain scenes he was. So I was actually intrigued with him, and I liked him. And so my guy for Tom Evans would be Francois Arnaud. And yeah, that's who I want as Captain Canuck for me.
Okay, cool. I see him here. I just had to look him up. So I see him here, and I see exactly what you're looking at, right? So, and I'll say this, and this is why I said the whole thing is about being as tangible as possible. And I'll tell you a couple of things, and I'll kind of jump back half a second. So, as I said, I like the locations. I love the fact that they mentioned RCMP. So he has RCMP training going forward from that. He excelled at that, and then he gets brought into another organization that's just above the RCMP. So keep in mind, for any of our listeners who are outside of Canada who don't know what the RCMP is, as I said before, that's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So we have our normal police force, and then you have the RCMP, which is a step above them. So picture if you're in America, you have your regular police force, and then you have the FBI. Right? They are kind of like their FBI/CIA. That's what they are. Even though they might dress in those uniforms, they are like a step above. They have like jurisdiction when they come in. So that's who they are. Yes, they have the red coats. They have the mounted police because they do things on horse, but they do way more than that. So don't let the uniform fool you.
No. Respect my authority. Respect my authority.
So we understand that him going to a boarding school, military, we understand the training that he would have going forward with hand-to-hand certain weapons, and then being escalated from there to progress. So I wanted to keep this as true as possible, especially the fact that I saw that he was a Cree. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be sensitive to find a Cree as much as possible to
Right.
fit this role. So I'll say this: one, I want it to be live action.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely live action, and give me. And this is one time I will say, give me a movie. And keep in mind now, as much as you say, "Oh, this is far fetched," let's put it this way: yes, does it deal with time travel at some point? Yes. Does it deal with aliens at some point? Yes. I think we should have those because if Captain America could fight Thanos, who's from a different
Yes.
planet, ready to
This is
snap people
it.
away, and he's an alien with an almighty glove, the Infinity Gauntlet, then we too in Canada can deal with aliens. We have so much more open space. It's easier for an alien to land a spaceship here in Canada than it is in the United States. Like you try to find parking in New York City, insane. But you try to go, to the farmlands out west, it's plains. There's places they can land a spaceship, and we won't even see it for days, depending how far you are out there in the fields. And plus, sometimes it's just too flipping cold that no one's going to go out there looking at the lights. They just watch it from the house, having their Tim Hortons going, "Yep, that looks weird."
Mm-hmm. I'll stay over here.
So, yeah. So give me a movie. The movie still has to keep the origin story. So things I want to keep in the movie. It's got to keep his origin story. It's got to keep his family. It's got to keep his heritage. It does have to make mention of the aliens. It does have to keep the alien and the Boy Scout aspect as a subplot. So maybe not, and I don't want it resolved in the first movie. Just want it there and give me a little
Mm-hmm.
teaser for movie number 2 and 3. And I can see this as a trilogy for the Canuck because if you, and especially the fact that he mentions different locations. So yes, I want to see it filmed in Montreal. I want to see it filmed in Manitoba. I want to see it filmed out in Halifax and New Brunswick. I want to actually go there and not just say, if we can get Lord of the Rings pretending they're here, but they're really out in New Zealand, then I want to see the authentic places when they're in those places, seeing that they're not that far apart. If they can do
Right.
it for a American production and take them to different locations, then they can do it for this. So you can have movie one, his origin, aliens getting up there, and maybe someone in the organization saying, "Hey, maybe we should monitor these boys that were with him at the same time," or he thinks about it and goes back that way. Movie two, certain things happen. Let him get time travel. Boom, and Captain Canuck in the past, and he has to deal with that without trying to change the future. Back in time. Movie number three, let's end it off with him coming back to present day and having to deal with the aliens invasion and stopping that and still being the beacon of our hope. Don't kill him off. Don't kill him off.
Mm.
Let him survive that and still be within our time, or have him go back to maybe 10 years prior and then say, well, we got to start this organization again to prepare for this moving forward. Let him be that kind of hero. And I want to see him go from his classic costume to the updated costume within the movie, right? Give that look. I think both are very important. So you have to have both. They did it for Captain America with a
Right.
shield
That's
and a
true.
costume. We can do it for that even in the first movie and establish his his support staff from his brother to Quebec to the red coat. All so 1, 3 movies, trilogy, subplot, dealing with the Boy Scouts. Let that go with the aliens. There we go. Man, with that, I was looking to, as I said, I wanted to be sensitive. So the actor I found here, he's a Canadian actor. He is a free actor himself, and his name is Justin Rain. So Justin is like already he's 6'2". If you see it, he's got the jaw. He's got these like steely eyes. Like he's got this gaze to him that I really like. So he's a First Nation actor. He's a Plains free descendant. So that there alone, with his look, some of the movies he's done in the past, he was, if I'm correct, I believe he was in Twilight. He played part of one of the werewolves, right, along with Taylor Lautner, more of the background. So he was one of them that if I'm wrong, I apologize, but this is who I'm going with. Justin Rain as my Captain Canuck. Let's keep him Cree. Let's really bring the forefront of their heritage to the big screen.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
for a lot of times, American productions come up here. Well, this time we have the actors, we have the locations, we have the technology. A lot of times when American productions come up here, they use our film equipment. They don't fly out film equipment. They use what we have. We do have the film equipment to make it really, really good. But they just need a
Facts.
budget behind it.
Yeah, no,
We just need a budget behind it. And once again, Canada don't get cheap. We need to really invest in our entertainment industry. We have people who are on par, if not better than some of them. And because of how things are in the entertainment industry, we lose people. William Shatner, great, gone to the States, made his fortune, right? And did all these IPs. Michael J. Fox, great, gone to the States, did the same thing. So
Ryan
we've
Reynolds.
lost, right? From musicians to artists to actresses, go across the border to kind of make their bones, so to speak, make their career, and then come back. And then Canada's like, well, they're Canadian, right? But did you support them when they were in Canada? Celine Dion went and made like multiple millions down in Vegas in the States.
Right.
You supported her, not the way the Americans supported her. The Americans supported her like insane. And then all of us were like, oh, yeah, but she's Canadian, eh? Well, instead of us losing out, we need to turn around and say, this one is ours. You want to know about Canada? This one is ours. We can be just as good as, Marvel, DC, Image, Top Cow, IDW. We can be owned, and that has to be shopped around properly and not like, oh, I don't know if I want to invest, but we'll take the American property. No, we got to stop doing that. Right? Stop. So that's my little rant. Being in the entertainment industry, I don't want to have to leave Canada to do what I want to do. I should be able to do it here on homegrown and be treated the same way.
Makes sense. All
right. I got a little personal there. So there we go. So that's what I'm going with. Justin Rain as my Captain Canuck, and build it out. Build it out. That's all I got to say about that.
Barry, tell us what grinds your gears. Let's go. Let's do a little Peter McGriff.
Peter Griffin. I just said I see so much talent leave to do what they got to do instead of doing it here. And if we paid them the same wage here, gave them the same exposure here, instead of after the fact, support them on the way up, things would be different. Things would be different. We got to stop claiming it's ours when it's gone. Don't treat our talent like lost and found. Treat our talent as found. It's like, 100%. Hey, William Shatner, what happened to him? Oh, he's in the States. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he was doing well. And on Star Trek, wait a minute, William Shatner's the lead? He's Canadian, right? No. It should be, we film this in Canada with Canadian lead. Do it. And don't 100%. Have to play into the stereotype of certain aspects of how we think the world wants to see Canada a certain way. No, let's give them the authentic Canadian experience. It doesn't have to be, Canada's nice. You guys can't, this is a little bit too dark in the script. We can't have that in script because that won't be Canadian. They won't see us as being Canadian. We gotta, no, we've got our dark days. We've got our underbelly of crime and stuff like that. Come on now. All right, I'm done.
It's okay. It's all right. We'll just leave it at that. Hey, no, they did moonshine up here, right? We won't get at that, but we won't get that. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, no, I fully agree. So, I guess that's it then. I guess
is it.
That might be the show right now. Let's leave it now. Let's just let's close it up before anybody's like
start a riot. Take your cousin over here. Yeah, that sounds good. So a couple of things. Exactly. A couple of things. So one, Remembrance Day, it's past, but remember, let's keep that in mind. Just because it's a day doesn't mean we only have to remember them for the day. Remember everyone and all the soldiers throughout the year, and the thanks. We got to give them thanks all the time, year round. So when you see a soldier, just 100%. Tell them thank you. And that's it. And
100%.
And I'm at Tim Hortons. If you see him at Tim Hortons, pay for a cup of coffee. You can do that.
There you go.
Don't forget, subscribe to our show, be it on YouTube or on our Podbean page. And follow me and Rod wherever you see me and Rod going about. So this is our month where we are remembering the troops and the soldiers, and this is our thank you to them. Any last words, Rod?
You know what? Listen, I will say, take in Captain Canuck. You will not be disappointed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, all the nice tidbits and information we brought to you, and hopefully you'll lean into what we're saying about having this IP actually coming to life, having the opportunity to get on the screen, and I believe people will enjoy it. No questions. I don't think anybody will have a second take back and be like, oh, that's interesting, and basically build off of that. So yeah, I think it'll be good. There's enough storyline to do something with it and build
Meat on the
off of it.
bone. Meat on the bone.
Oh,
That's right. I agree with it. And my only thing I'll add on that is, like, if we got music, it's got to be Canadian music. If you got Platinum Blonde in there, you got to put Platinum Blonde back. We need Platinum Blonde. And if it's Gowan that's opening, okay, we got to use Gowan's beat too. Okay, represent. That's all I'm saying. Man, even throw in some Pour Your Heart. Come on now. This is what I want to hear. If you're going back to a certain time period, you got to let them play their music. You got to let them make an appearance, especially Platinum Blonde. Not because I'm a fan, but because I'm a fan. All right. And you already put him in the cartoon. So there we go. This has been the iConis podcast, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again. And as I always say, this whole world was started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. Out.
Okay.
God, I need Tim's. I gotta go to Tim's.
I'll take a double.
All right, on it. Later.
What's a double?